This is some of the strongest evidence yet, corroborating witness accounts from Libya. This video, said to be filmed in Benghazi, was uploaded to YouTube. In clear defiance of Muammar Gaddafi's leadership, protesters burning a monument to the Green Book, written by the colonel to outline his political views. The video was posted on YouTube and said to have been filmed in the city of Tobruk on Thursday, during nationwide protests for Libya's Day of Rage. Reports of casualties have come from all over the country, with witnesses claiming there was a violent crackdown on peaceful protests. Sources suggest Libyan security forces shot and killed demonstrators. Some of the worst casualty numbers were reported in the city of Beda, where, according to Human Rights Watch, hospital staff put out a call for additional help as they became overwhelmed with injuries, many there in a critical condition with gunshot wounds. Caroline Malone, AlJazeera.
In Yemen, protests are ongoing in the south of the country for an 8th straight day. Security is tight in the capital, Sana'a, too. Thousands are expected to take to the streets after Friday prayers. There have been calls on social networking sites urging Yemenis to take part in a Friday of Rage. The Iraqi government has imposed a curfew in parts of the country in response to angry protests across Iraq. At least 3 people have been killed. In Basra, in the south, protesters have blocked a bridge. They're calling on the provincial governor to quit and are demanding better services from the government. In Sulaymaniyah, a peaceful demonstration ended in stones being thrown at the headquarters of the Kurdistan Democratic Party. Security forces then shot back at the protesters, reportedly killing 2 people. And in Kut, protests ended with some demonstrators storming a regional government headquarters. At least 1 teenager was killed in the clashes that followed. The city remains under curfew. Now, many of these protests have been organized online by young people. Jana Raf reports from Baghdad.
Nofal Falahi refers to this bench as her office. It's from here, with wireless modems, that she and 2 other art students have launched an internet campaign. It mobilizes young people to go out on the streets to protest.
There's many groups working alone, and so we want to put them together. There was 1,000 people when we started on the first week.
It's all carried out on Facebook. Access to the web was essentially banned in Iraq before 2003. While Nof and her friends had seen the internet a few times, they'd never been able to use it. Mustafa is now an expert in using videos and photos.
We're trying to get our message across, and we say that the youth can change things.
This college is a small oasis of freedom, but students here are trying to widen it, using technology to reach out to young people across Iraq and the region to demand change.
Haider Fadel uses a mapping program to show where the protests have been held in Iraq and where they're expected.
This is the map of Iraq.
Soon they'll have photos and videos attached. The internet is a tool their parents didn't have, but it's just a starting point. The vast majority of young Iraqis don't own a computer or have access to the internet. Nof's group, Iraqi Streets for Change, is also relying on flyers and tweets via cell phone to spread their message. Iraqis all have the same complaints: corruption, bad services, lack of jobs. But the young feel their very future is being hijacked.
My Iraqi government, he have every year $86 billion. I don't have $5. Just like my brother, we don't have $5.
This is the most freedom they've ever had. They don't want to overthrow the system, but for the first time as a group, they're demanding a better life. Jane Araf, AlJazeera, Baghdad.
A Beijing court has upheld the conviction and an 8-year sentence given to a Chinese-born American geologist for stealing state secret. Xu Feng was charged in July for obtaining information on the Chinese oil industry. His appeal lawyer had argued that the information acquired about the oil industry was widely available. The U.S. ambassador has urged China to release Xu. The Japanese whaling fleet is heading home after its annual whale hunt was cut short by almost a month. The government says it's because of harassment by the anti-whaling group Sea Shepherd. Veronica Pedrosa has the details.
With light beams and smoke canisters, Japan's whaling season comes to an abrupt halt. And now it's official.
For the safety of our fleet, we regret that we have to end the whale hunting survey.
The whaling boats had already suspended the hunt, turned around and headed home after being hounded by a hard-line anti-whaling group. Boats from the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society had been chasing the leading ship, throwing flares and stink bombs.
It's regretful that these disruptive activities took place. So from our point of view, we would like to make sure such things don't happen in the future.
The Japanese boats are allowed to hunt for what they say are scientific purposes. But critics point out the whale meat not used for study is sold for people to eat in Japan. So they say the real reason is profit.
The key here is an economic one. We have to sink the Japanese whaling fleet economically. We have to bankrupt them. And after 6 years, that's exactly what's happening. We come down here every year stronger. They come down here every year weaker. And we're going to drive them out of the sanctuary.
Japan's decision to end the whaling season early has already been welcomed by another government.
In the view of the Australian government, it's not time to celebrate until we get a decision from Japan that they are stopping whaling for good.
And there's a potentially greater threat to the whalers. They're subsidised by the Japanese government, but they've only killed about a fifth of their quota. Having ended the season early, they reportedly stand to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. Veronica Pedrosa, AlJazeera.
Coming up, Haiti struggles to cope with the cholera outbreak that's killed more than 4,500 people. Among those trying to deal with the disease is this group of Cuban doctors. We'll have their story coming up. Stay with us.
Hello again. Well, first of all, let's have a quick look at all the tropical cyclones that we have with us at the moment, because we've actually got quite a few. We seem to have another one developing as well. That is in the same general area that Yazzie also originated from. So we've got to keep a very close eye on this storm as we head through the next few days, because even if it doesn't head its way towards Australia, many of these islands here are very low lying. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on that storm. Now, elsewhere, Darwin has certainly seen a lot of wet weather. That was thanks to Carlos. The remains of that storm are still over us. That's why we've still got all that cloud and some rain. The rain now, though, is less heavy, but still Darwin is seeing quite a bit of it. Another cyclone on this chart as well. That's staying away to the west of us for now. This one's Diane. It is still a tropical cyclone, and gradually it's tracking its way southwards. Now, it's moving quite slowly, and as it does so, it's going to be throwing plenty of cloud and rain along the western coast of Australia. So torrential downpours here, and because the area here is so dry, that it does look like we're going to see widespread flooding. Now across to